28-29 season. Olympic hockey continues as Switzerland took down Italy 3-0 this morning as Nashville Predators captain Roman Josi scored on the power play. Switzerland will now take on UC Saros and Erik Haula and Team Finland tomorrow. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night for Smashville Live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs as General Manager Barry Trotz will be the guest as the broadcast starts at 6 right here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For more, log on to theGameNashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the George Plaster Show on February 17th, a Tuesday. Not as sunny of a day outside, but still warm-ish weather, about 65 degrees. Rumor has it we're supposed to get 70s on Thursday, but cloudy. So I guess that'll do it for the weather report. I'm not much of a weatherman. It is no footballs. It is the football off season, but we still have a loaded show, and that's not going to change. We have Tony Basilio at 3:20, and we've got a lot to talk with him about. Joey Aguilar's case. He had a court case on Friday. The judge did not give a ruling, so his temporary restraining order since has been extended. So as of right now, Joey Aguilar is eligible to play. I'm sure that we will have an answer on that by the end of the week. But in the meantime, we just sit and wait. And there's been a lot of that going around in college athletics. Also, the Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball team, there was a debate that was brought up today whether Tennessee or Vandy, who would make the deeper run come March Madness. I'd like to get Tony's thoughts on that as well. So we will have him on at 3:20. And for those of you that are listening on 94.9 The Fan, starting at 4:15, we will head to Vanderbilt baseball as they have a matchup with Eastern Michigan. First pitch is set for 4:30. The pregame will start at 4:15. So we will transition our show to just be live streamed starting at that time. So we'll still be on YouTube, we'll still be on Twitter, and we'll still be on Facebook. So the show will continue as normal. We just won't be on radio, at least on 94.9 The Fan, but we'll be on up until 5 o'clock. And also, please let me remind you to, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the George Plaster Show YouTube channel, where you can get all of our shows. You can get notifications when we go live, like we are right now, and you can go back and catch up on previous shows that you might have missed. So please make sure that you're subscribed. It doesn't hurt you or doesn't sign you up for anything. It just helps us out at the show. I'm told that we have George on the line. And with that, we will go out to George right now. George, how's it going? Did you make it in all right? Did Brandon get you on the line?
Parker, we are good. How you doing?
We're good. So that's what we like to hear. George, I was wrong. I was wrong about Houston. I was wrong about Iowa State. From here on out, I'm not doubting Hilton Magic anymore. I thought you should hear it from me directly.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. It was by an eyelash. Which, if the truth be known, I think both of us knew going in last night that the way that game played out, close right to the wire, is exactly what we expected.
The Big 12 has just been delivering game after game. And you look at Houston's upcoming schedule, they have Arizona on Saturday, and then for another big Monday, they have Kansas. So the road's not getting any easier, but that is just the Big 12. And let's go ahead and start there with our daily update. So Iowa State, they got a massive, big, monumental win on the season, beating Houston on a go-ahead three-pointer within a minute of regulation. and they get a win 70-67 over the previously ranked number 2 Houston Cougars. And George, as we all expected, it was not only the game of the night, but I'd make the case that it might be the game of the year up to this point.
Oh, it'd be one of the top 4 or 5, no doubt. I was trying to remember back to late 1983 going up there. And you had 2 veteran coaches, Johnny Orr at Iowa State, C.M. Newton at Vandy. And as the game ends, they shake hands. And Johnny Orr says, I would like to continue this series. And Coach Newton looks at him and says, Johnny, said, that sounds great, but I'm not coming back up here. It was about 12 below that night. Cold. Oh, my God.
Ugh.
Ames, Iowa is not Miami, Florida.
Ain't that the truth? I have been to Iowa one time, and I was there for less than 24 hours, and I don't have plans on going back anytime soon. It was cold, but how was the atmosphere when you went?
Pretty close to what it was last night. I think it's one. First of all, the atmosphere last night was awesome. They gave everybody those gold shirts, and so it looked like a Predator playoff game. And it was very similar to what we ran into in '84. And none of us really knew that much about Iowa State or the Hilton Center. And we walk in, now it's 40 years later, but it was beautiful. I was like, wow.
Think about it. You take Ames, Iowa, and nothing is really there except this grand basketball arena. And I thought ESPN did a great job on the broadcast last night, because usually they have those windows on Monday night where you have, on Big Monday, you have the 6 o'clock game and you have the 8 o'clock game. And sometimes that 6 o'clock game will run into the 8 o'clock game. Well, because Duke ended up just whooping Syracuse behind, the game ended early. So ESPN got a little extra time to show off the Hilton Coliseum, and it was phenomenal. So I thought they did a great job. And of course, the fan base was very enthusiastic. You had TJ Otzelberger in his medium shirt, the only coach in college basketball that can pull it off. And now that leads us into another top 7 matchup tonight, this time in the Mackey Arena in Purdue, as they host the new number 1 team, Michigan. George, this is going to be a blast.
Yeah, Mackey is sort of a municipal auditorium plus about 5,000 seats. It's a lower deck. It's an upper deck. It's always full. They always wear black. It'll be a great environment tonight. But I think Purdue has sprung a little bit of a leak in the last, say, 10 to 14 days. I don't think they are right now what people thought they would be. They better rise up tonight, because this Michigan bunch, they are really good.
We're actually going to preview this matchup later on in the 4 o'clock hour, because tons of headlines to, get at here. But it's a pretty decent slate tonight. UNC at NC State. NC State is not ranked, but it's a rivalry game nonetheless. NC State is fighting for their NCAA tournament lives. An excellent quad 1 opportunity. Louisville at SMU, kind of the same thing. Louisville's firmly in the field. SMU is not. They are on the outside looking in. So that would be a chance for them. And then you have 2 teams on the bubble in the Big 12, which I think is one of the more underrated games of the night, in TCU at UCF. UCF is probably a little safer at this point than TCU, but TCU's been getting hot as of late. So that'll be interesting. Virginia Tech at Miami. You got all these bubble teams that are just kind of sitting there with quad 1 opportunities. But the game that I'm looking forward to, George, as I was looking at the scores, Nebraska at Iowa. Iowa's actually the favorite in this one, which kind of surprised me.
Well, let me say this. You remember when we went to Nebraska?
I do.
Report from there?
I do.
Since then, they've looked like a total fraud.
You're not wrong.
Illinois ripped them a new one. oh gosh, who else beat them on their home court? Somebody else
Purdue
beat them on their home court. Purdue. I don't know. When I watch Nebraska, it looks to me like they peaked in early January. I don't think they're as good a team today.
And I agree, because they've had their struggles. So they've lost 3 out of their last 5. Lost to Michigan and Ann Arbor, which was a really close game. Nebraska honestly should have won that one, but they gave up that lead that they had. Lost to Illinois, and the score kind of indicates that it was closer than it actually felt. And then the Purdue game, they got out-rebounded on the offensive glass 21-6. So, George, you may be right. They may have gotten hot at the wrong time, because you want to start getting better as we get close to March. But it seems like Nebraska is kind of going down, which is not a good thing.
No, and they don't have a ton of basketball tradition in their past. Their crowds in their new arena have been great. But I'm sure there's a little skepticism right now about how much staying power they have, because Illinois exposed some things, and then Purdue knocked them around pretty good in Lincoln. This is a big night for them, and this is a win that I think they've got to have, and I don't think they're going to get it.
And that is really interesting, because I thought about taking that at the end of the show, so we'll have to see where I go. But big night of basketball in the Big Ten. Some NFL news. It is NFL Tag Day, franchise tag, transition tag. The Seattle Seahawks announced that their intention was to not franchise tag their running back and Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. However, they plan to sign him to an extension, which we all felt was going to be the case. And they also plan to do the same thing with Jackson Smith and Jigba. But George, there is a part of me, and I don't think it's a likely chance, but let's take a team like the Titans. I don't think a running back is high on their priority. But if by the chance they wanted to move on from Tony Pollard, I'd be interested to see if they can at least match an offer that the Seahawks pose for Kenneth Walker.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I don't think that'd go over real well there. And Seattle's got a bunch of cap room. So why would they do it?
This is the only reason I say that is because you have Tony Pollard, who, is been productive. He has 1,000-yard seasons, which is exactly what you expect to get out of a guy like Tony Pollard. But if you can get a running back for around the same price of what you'd be paying for Tony Pollard and go younger, like Breece Hall is another guy. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Titans are going to move on at all from Tony Pollard. But Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker are 2 running backs that come to mind.
Yeah. Breece Hall more likely to be available.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking too. So some news out of the NFL. And George, we have some MLB news, as MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark has resigned with less than a year before the expiration of the MLB's collective bargaining agreement. Do you know more on this situation?
Sure do. I have a very strong opinion about this.
All right, go for it.
If you're a baseball fan and you don't want to see a strike a year from now, getting rid of Tony Clark is the best news a baseball fan could have had. First of all, I think there are players that don't trust him. I know the owners don't trust him. I didn't trust him. Getting Tony Clark the hell out is really good news for baseball.
Are there any scandals with this? Because I've been seeing, the word scandal being thrown around in Tony Clark.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into what's being reported. But it's been rumored for a while. There's been an investigation going on, and apparently for him to resign, it probably means there's something going on. I just know from the baseball point of this is my opinion. If Tony Clark were the leader, we were going to have a strike. Now, the the guy that likely will get the job is a guy named Bruce Meyer. I don't know that much about Bruce Meyer, but I know enough about Tony Clark. I had no use for him. Thrilled that he's out.
Okay, that sounds like good news for the MLB. So hopefully no strike. We'll have to continue to monitor the situation. Some college baseball news we mentioned at the top of the hour, at the top of the show, that Vanderbilt would be taking on Eastern Michigan at 4:30. So that'll kind of cut this program a little short, at least on 94.9. We'll continue with our friends in ESPN Clarksville and on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And Tennessee is in the bottom of the first against UNC Asheville. No score there. So a little early college baseball action going on. And George, I saw this story and I thought of the comments that you made yesterday, and I thought of the exact reasons why we don't watch the NBA. But Mark Cuban, who is, a stakeholder with the Dallas Mavericks, is in favor. And he posted this long diatribe on Twitter about how he was in favor of tanking. And the NBA has a disgusting tanking problem, and it's why I don't care for the product right now.
Yeah, I don't doubt, though, Cuban has always been one that whatever the commissioner says, he tries to go the other way. And, that's just been his history. Think about how many times early in his ownership of the Mavericks, how much he got fined for stuff that he was off about.
Yeah.
But, here's what I do know. If he had still been the principal owner of the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Duka would still be there.
You're no comment from me on that one. You're absolutely right. So not a surprise there that Mark Cuban is in favor of tanking. And the Olympics are continuing to go on. And George, I've been fascinated. I don't know how much Olympics you've been able to watch, but I've been fascinated by the pairs figure skating. I watched their gold medal event last night. Absolutely fascinated by it. I don't know how they do some of this stuff, but Norway is in the lead with, I think, 30 medals. Clearly, they're going to have the most gold too. And the U.S. is sitting in third. So, George, how much Olympics have you been able to watch?
About 10 minutes.
Yeah. Catching the highlights?
Yeah, the hockey and the thing where they go down the hill and then fly through the air. Those are the two that I'm really into. Other than that,
I'm more of a Summer Olympics guy myself, but this is really the first year that I've just been locked into the Winter Olympics. I find it absolutely fascinating. And also, I don't know how some of these athletes are able to keep their knees stable, because it seems like a lot of wear and tear on the knees, especially with the downhill skiing stuff. So that concludes our update. And on the other side of this, we're going to go out to Knoxville and we're going to chat with our good friend Tony Basilio. Lots of stuff going on with the surrounding Joey Aguilar. His extra season of eligibility hangs in the balance. The basketball team has a matchup with Oklahoma tomorrow. We'll have to see what the ceiling of this team is. We'll talk about all that with Tony on the other side. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. With businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. I'm disappointed because it looks like Tony Basilio's not outside or with his guitar today. It looks like he's in his normal studio as we bring him up right now. Tony.
Man, it's beautiful out there. And there's my guitar right there, but it's beautiful outside here.
It is. We're I think it's 65 degrees right now. Got a little bit
of
nice.
So
nice.
On.
It's going to be 70 on Thursday. I'm gonna take a chance, given it doesn't rain. So
you got to call in sick, man. Call in sick.
You got to call in sick. So let's go ahead and start with the Joey Aguilar situation, and also too, George is back with us. He's called in via phone, so we have George available too. So go ahead and say hi. It's been a while since y'all talked.
God bless, George. Yeah, I love you, man.
You know, I so appreciated your phone call. I wasn't able to do much but kind of croak back at you, but you'll love this. I went today for my first voice therapy deal, and the woman who treated me voice therapy wise 20 years ago, Amy Stone, is doing this again.
Wow.
And so we're talking about, what's it been like? What do you, what kind of symptoms have you had? Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I look at her desk and she's got the plaster bobblehead that I gave her 20 years ago. The Sound did a George Plaster bobblehead night, and I had given her one of them. It took me 20 minutes before I realized it was there, and I'm sitting there yapping, and all of a sudden I look over at it, and I just burst out laughing. That was hilarious.
That's awesome, man. You had an impact on her, too. That's cool, George.
She's, first of all, the Vanderbilt Voice Clinic supposedly is the best in the country, and I can vouch they're really good. And she is as good as there is. I'm really fortunate that she's going to be helping me. As you can tell, things have gotten a lot better.
Well, you sound great.
But we want to get it back to where, I can do what you do, host a show.
Kelly thinks he's faking it, Tony. Kelly's been making comments all the last 2 weeks about he thinks George is faking it.
That's just tough love from Kelly. That's just tough love, man.
So let's start here, Tony. Joey Aguilar, he had his I don't know if it was an injunction, a preliminary. I'm not a legal expert. I know he had a court case or whatever on Friday, and the judge did not come to a decision, so therefore his TRO has been extended. Do you know anything further about the situation?
No, I mean, some people today thought we would know something today, but look, I mean, the judge is going to act on his own time. The judge did say, I'm going to come to a conclusion pretty quickly in this thing, but who knows what that means in a court of law? And who knows what else the judge has piled on top of him? As we've seen in previous cases here, you know, you're at the whims and the wheels of justice can spin swiftly or they can spin slowly. From Tennessee's perspective, hey, look, take your good old time and make your decision, because the further it gets kicked down the road, the more it makes it very difficult for the NCAA to appeal if, in fact, the verdict goes Tennessee's way. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles in that deal.
Is it because he would have less time to prepare for, you know, the NFL or try to go to the draft, combine, whatever?
No, I'm simply speaking of he can't throw a football right now anyway. He's not going to be able to do anything from that regard till later in the spring, early in the summer. And so from Tennessee's perspective, they got their three quarterbacks, the kid they brought in from Colorado, George McIntyre and Faison Brandon, who's obviously the freshman phenom, true freshman. And really the top two guys are the guys that are going to split the reps. And obviously those are the two guys getting paid. The kid from Colorado's come in as sort of a camp arm veteran kind of deal. I don't even think he's getting any NIL money, according to people I've talked to. So he's strictly over there as a borderline insurance policy. The thing about Joey Aguilar is he already knows the offense. He doesn't need the reps like the young kids do. He doesn't need that. So it's almost a perfect scenario. And look, if the judge takes even a month or so to decide, which I don't think it'll go that long, but that would be a great, and then ultimately says that Aguilar can play, that's a great result for Tennessee, because that gives the NCAA one less month to play with to appeal. And you can drag and slow this thing down from Aguilar's side.
So, Tony, let me butt in for a minute. Let me ask this. When the Alabama judge ruled against Bediako, because everybody's just assumed, look, if it's a local judge, they're going to support the team. Do you think that maybe has changed the mojo of this at all?
No, not at all. I don't think it had anything to do with it. In fact, George, Tennessee's referencing what happened in Mississippi courtroom the other day, which the same exact attorneys and for the NCAA were there, and a judge there started lecturing them when he decided in favor of Trinidad Chambliss that day in court. And then they came to Knoxville, and look, Judge Haggerty, who heard the case here, is a guy that is known to be a pretty fair guy. He's known to be somebody, though, who doesn't suffer fools. And he roughed up both sides to the court observers. The accounts are he roughed up both sides in that situation. But once you're granted a TRO, George, the NCAA is going to have to come back, and they're really going to have to roll up their sleeves to win this case. And the reason I say that is people that study the law tell me that the Tennessee law that Tennessee's referencing here and that other athletes are going to lean on in future cases is written so widely, and there's so little precedence there that it's very hard to lose these cases at this point in time. Now, when you go to a higher court, it becomes easier to lose the case because we've got case law and we have history. But in this case, this is a newly written piece of legislation that Tennessee's leaning on here.
So with we look at Trinidad, we talked to Brad Logan, who covers Ole Miss, on Friday, and we were talking about the Trinidad Chambliss case. To me, that is completely different from what's going on with Joey Aguilar. And everybody knows I'm a Tennessee fan, so I'm going to take off my orange lens glasses here and try to be fair. But I wasn't in favor of Diego Pavia getting the extra year. I'm not in favor of Joey Aguilar getting the extra year either. But since Pavia was granted the extra year because he was trying to make the case that JUCO years don't count, which is the same thing that Joey Aguilar is trying to argue.
Right.
Don't you think that he deserves the extra year since Pavia got it too?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm not there. I will tell you, it's hard to lose these home games. I mean, that's just the bottom line. To George's point, Bediako lost his home game because Greg Sankey chimed in on it. And because I believe that was a precedence that even a judge in an Alabama court did not want to open up that can of worms for everybody. The can of worms being that you come from the professional ranks back to the college ranks. If we start that, there was a guy that had played 50 some odd games for somebody in the NBA who decided he wanted to go back to college here recently after Bediako went back and was granted his TRO at first, which allowed him to play for a while. And so I just think each of these cases are a little different. Aguilar's argument is similar to Pavia's, which is you shouldn't count JUCO against me. Look, if we stop counting JUCO against these guys, JUCO football is going to get pretty good pretty soon. Because what's going to happen is people that are marginal type prospects are going to go to JUCO to get bigger and stronger and then seek a payday among the Power 4 leagues. Teams are also going to stash player in junior colleges because it's not going to count against them. And you're going to have what we're going to call the 5 earning years. Because anything you do, you can go park yourself in a junior college for a couple years. But what inevitably is going to occur if we're not careful in college football is you're going to see guys 24, 25 competing with guys 18 or 19 years old in a full man's contact sport. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
So I think I know what your answer is going to be, but when I was growing up, JUCO years did count towards your regular eligibility. So,
right.
And we talked with Mike Organ of the Tennessean about this. Do you believe that JUCO years should count? And I believe I already know your answer.
Well, I mean, they've always counted in the past. Look, here's the thing. I'm conflicted on that because the truth is Joey Aguilar, just do the math. I mean, where else is he going to make $2 million in his lifetime? He's got a chance. And his counsel said $2 million. If that, in fact, is the case, I mean, how hard is it in life to make $2 million for most people? And look, his options are, he's not an NFL player. He's just not. So his options are go play in Canada for like 150 to 200,000 a year, which is okay. I mean, for a lot of people, that's a good living. People listening to us right now, or go play in the spring league and make like 65 or 70,000 and keep your dream alive. I mean, those are your options. Those are your options for any of these guys. If you're not an NFL player, there's a couple other pro leagues that you can go try to keep your dream alive in. And who knows, maybe you'll come out on the other side of this. So my opinion on it really doesn't matter. If I'm king, I give everybody 6 years from the time they leave high school. And I say, you got 6 years. You can go do what you're going to do. You want to go to junior college for a couple years and get stronger? You want to play college football? If I'm giving you 6 years, here's what I want, though. You've got to be enrolled in school. You've got to show progress toward a degree. You've got to show at least that you're trying. And I don't know what that would look like in terms of number of class hours you would need to have completed. But inevitably, until we get the collective bargaining, this is all going to be a moot point. And we're going to continue to see this sort of thing because there's too much gold at the end of the rainbow for these guys not to fight for that extra year. And particularly in college football coaches are always going to lean toward these veteran quarterbacks, at least ones that show they can fog up a mirror, can play a little bit. And Joey Aguilar can play. He can help Tennessee next year.
This is my last one, then I'll turn it over to George, because I listened to Carson Beck talk before the national championship game, and he was on his 5th year, and he admitted that he hadn't been to class in 2 years. And my understanding, I played college football, and I was told that as long as you are on a team and you're competing, you have to be enrolled in classes. That was my understanding. So that what you're saying makes total sense. But in terms of if Aguilar is not able, or let's say that he is able to come back, what would that mean for a guy like George McIntyre? Because, Faison, George, they're both going to get time to learn under Joey Aguilar. I would assume, and I haven't seen these guys practice yet, but I would assume that Faison would be better, considering he's a more high caliber recruit than George. What would it mean for one of those two guys?
Well, I mean, look, you can't assume anything. To me, look, just because of your class ranking, there are 5-star guys that wash out all the time.
Fair.
And so, I think Tennessee staff likes George McIntyre. This particular case is unique because in most of these, Trinidad Chambliss, he wins his case. He's going to get the first team reps in the spring and in the early summer. He's first team guy. In this particular situation, Aguilar had a kind of touchy surgery of a tumor, thank God benign, on his throwing arm that I understand made him wince in pain to throw the ball late in the year that he never shared with anybody in the meeting, never told anybody. Tough guy, never made excuses like I would have. And so you've got these guys who are going to get an opportunity to compete. You've got these guys who are going to get all the reps in the spring. You've got these guys that, and players aren't dumb. Players know where they stand. Guys know, hey, this guy over here is ahead of me, or, hey, I'm neck and neck with this guy. In a perfect scenario, those two guys come out of camp neck and neck with each other. They can keep both of those guys, they can keep both of them interested, both of them in the boat, and let's go into the football season next year and have a football season. I think the temptation for any of these head football coaches is, boy, getting a veteran player sure is easier than growing a young one. And if you're Tennessee, do I flash my big cash and very covertly go out into the offseason and say a great free agent comes available and I can get a couple boosters interested in him? Do I go purchase him? It's always the sure thing that coaches are going to go for. And that's why more and more of these teams are going toward the veteran markets and basically staying out of high school football altogether for certain positions. And quarterback's one of them.
George, take it away.
Man, it is great to talk to you. Among the things that I've missed over the last 3 weeks is yapping sports with you. In the middle of kind of sitting around, I'm watching Tennessee one night at Alabama, and in a second half of nearly perfect basketball, where I said to myself, that team that night, that's a 2 or a 3 seed.
Yep.
Most of the nights I watch them, they feel like more around a 6. Do you think the Alabama night was a one-shot deal, or can this team get to that?
George, it's an excellent observation. I mean, look, college basketball is a matchup-dependent sport and always has been. Rick Barnes eats Nate Oates' lunch since he's been there. That 5-out style for the way Barnes coaches, he's just their elixir. He forces them defensively to settle for mid-range shots, runs them off the three-point line, doesn't allow them to get comfortable. And conversely, his teams offensively always have pretty good nights when they play Alabama. So, but you're right. This Tennessee team, I said the other day on a post-game show that they show such promise sometimes, but if they had, they're talking about, they're allowing it now. Jersey patches on jerseys for sponsorship. Tennessee basketball this year should be sponsored by In-N-Out Burger, because depending on the 4-minute sequence you watch, they either are totally in or totally out. They don't have much of an idle. They either the engine's on and it's revving, or the engine they're freewheeling and they're coasting down the road, or they lose power altogether. I used to have a car, Renault Alliance, back in the 80s. I can say this now. I don't think that car is no longer around, but it had an issue. Those Renaults had issues where you'd be driving down the highway and the thing would just cut off. And that was tennis. That's Tennessee basketball right now. You're just going down the road, going 60 miles an hour. I'm going down I-95 one night, George, coming out of a Phillies game, and my car just cuts off. It just quits running, just kind of coasting. And
that wouldn't be a good city for that.
That's not good. No, they were pushing me along. Let's put it that way.
The thing that was so obvious that night, Ament might as well have been Bernard King. He couldn't miss.
Yep. He's in the middle of he's woken up, and he's like in a renaissance deal here now. And when you see these really talented players who 1 month earlier looked like little afraid scaredy cats out on the court and they're afraid of their own shadow, and then all of a sudden it clicks in and they realize, I can do this. I have the confidence. I can go out here and own the moment. He has been alpha dog city here for the last 7 basketball games, and he's been really, 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 really good and really fun to watch. And he gets engaged on both ends. Look, he's what gives. No matter what Tennessee's seed is, he's the ceiling of their basketball team. How he plays in March is how far that basketball team goes. Period. End of sentence. If he makes that thing his own, Tennessee could go as far as they've gone in school history, or even further. This team could go to a Final Four. And now they would need one more piece with him and Gillespie to come on board, but that happens all the time in the postseason, George. I mean, you're a Braves fan, I'm a Phillies fan, and in college hoops, it's the same way. Bit players, your bench, people doing things they haven't done all year, a lot of times decides whether or not you're going to be going a round or two further than you should, or you go out a round or two further than you should.
Oh, you're exactly right. So, you know what's coming Saturday here? Tennessee Vandy Memorial Gym.
Oh, yeah.
I've probably seen in Memorial Gym 50 Tennessee Vandy games.
Wow.
And this one feels like it could be right up at the top of it, because they're both really good. And Vandy feels like it feels like to me they've gotten through their lull, and now they're back to what we saw more like when they were 16-0. What do you think happens Saturday?
I think it's going to be a really hard game for Tennessee to win. I think Vanderbilt's, look, they're going to play 2 games with them. I would take a split right now. I think Vanderbilt's a little bit of a headache for the Vols, but I do think Tennessee's big, physical, punishing front line gives them an opportunity in this game. And that's kind of what Tennessee hangs their hat on when they go into matchups like this. I mean, they out-rebound their opponents by around 15 in the league, which is a crazy number. That's a crazy number. I mean, they're one of the all-time great rebounding teams in terms of efficiency, Tennessee is, and they're having a hell of a year on the boards this year. The problem with the Vols, though, is in some of these road games, they get in spots where they go through periods where they can't convert easy shots. That in and out thing I'm talking about. And then that turns into a turnover here or a turnover there. And that turns into turning the crowd on. You know, George, I remember a couple of years ago before Byington got there, we did a show and we talked about how it would be 75 or 80% Tennessee fans there. at the end of the Stackhouse era.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of fun that this Byington guy has turned this thing back into, hey, it's a very difficult place to go play in Memorial Gym. And from a Tennessee perspective, I mean, I think it makes it more interesting to put more juice in the rivalry.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it had become kind of a joke. And, I used to laugh because Barnes would always say all these nice things about Stackhouse. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Please, you're just saying it because it's playtime.
Yep.
What's like
that's like, hey, George, I'll never forget Blizzard of 94 when Rick Pitino gets up after beating Wade Houston by 61. And he said, that is a good man across the hall. And Tennessee needs to strongly think before they replace him. And I'm going to myself, yeah, I'll bet he's a good man. He's like a stool pigeon to you.
While they run a backdoor for another layup.
Yes, exactly. Beat the guy by 61 and then give him a vote of confidence.
Tony, I'll never forget when he was there. And by all accounts, Wade Houston was a really nice man who didn't appear to be equipped to be a head coach. I walked in one day to Thompson Bowling, which at the time seated 24,000, and there were 3,500 people there. And the same thing happened here with Stackhouse. You're getting these crowds that you're like, please, something's got to change.
Yeah.
And, both of these programs right now could get to the NCAA tournament and really cause some people some trouble. And that is fun.
There is no doubt about that. And that is kind of what it's all about, Tennessee's in a spot where, George, I was lecturing my audience and Tennessee fans the other day because they're in a spot where they win 20 games rolling out of bed. And so they've seen all Rick Barnes' magic tricks. And so it's hard when we're doing post-game shows because people are basically pointing out the flaws and what's going to keep you from winning in March. And you kind of, you lose the joy of the journey when it becomes all about how you'll do in March. We're coming off 2 Elite Eights here. Tennessee fans in one sense are spoiled. And in another sense, they're scarred because they're just wondering, how are we going to get and see tournament cruelty this year? How is it going to visit upon us? Because we're never going to go to the Final Four. That's just the mentality here, rather than, boy, we have 2 Elite Eights and we're having a golden era of Tennessee basketball and let's enjoy it. It's picking at the warts all the time. It's really hard to do a post-game show in that environment because it can turn into like a negative fest.
Tony,
and what you want to say is, do you remember when Jerry Green was here?
Well, exactly.
Wade Houston was here.
Well, what I want to say is, you people sound like a bunch of Philadelphia fans.
So, Parker, have you been asking Tony while I've been on the sidelines if one person hasn't heard him before, where do they need to listen to him?
Hey, George,
I was actually getting ready to ask him that.
You're getting ready to do that. This Parker guy is a great guy. Now, Parker, I want to show you something. It's a little show and tell here. Every Vol fan ought to have one of these. Tell George what we have. Tell George what I have in my hand here. What's that look like to you?
Oh, is that for baseball? I can't really tell.
It's a big orange athletic supporter. It's a cup, ladies and gentlemen.
It is a
George. We have a saying around here. Whenever things are going well, you keep your cup on because you're going to get kicked right there by the sports gods when you're a Tennessee fan. Now, only a fellow Tennessee fan like Parker can understand that. But in light of the Joey Aguilar decision, get ready to come down, I've got my cup right next to me. You've got to always keep it around you. And Parker's shaking his head at me. He thinks I'm out of my mind.
No,
but you got to always keep it with you.
Get one. I need you to send me one. That's what I'm saying. I need you to send me one.
We spray painted this one. We made this. This is a What'd you call a homemade job?
Oh, that is hilarious. Parker, take it away.
Thank you, guys. tclub.team's where you find me. Thank you, guys.
For the phenomenal post game that Tony does after basketball games. Tony, appreciate the time. We'll do this again next week.
Yeah, thank you, Parker. Great job by you and George. Keep getting better, buddy.
Tony, thank you, and thanks for that phone call. It meant the world to me.
You watered my soul being on here with you guys today. Thanks.
Thanks.
George, I think that's the first time that anybody's ever told us that. I'll take it.
That's hilarious.
I'll take it. Got to keep your cup on. That is the takeaway from Tony Basilio's interview. Keep the cup on if you're a Vols fan, and keep it close by. You may need to. We'll quickly.
You're going to break.
Yes. Quickly recap everything that he said on the other side, and I mean quickly because we're a little short on time. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Darren Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join mnpd.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Told you this was going to be a quick segment. Got a little less than 2.5 minutes. Rapid fire, George. What was your favorite thing from the Tony Basilio interview? And you cannot say the cup.
No, I think it's that people have come to expect the Rick Barnes, that there's a level of excellence that he's being placed at, and it's just never good enough. And to me, that's unfair to Rick Barnes. It's unfair to their team. This nitpicking kind of deal. And look, it's been out there. You know, they've gotten very close to cracking the door and getting to a Final Four. But if you look at the history of Tennessee basketball, there's never been a Final Four. And this guy deserves more praise than all this nitpicking that's been going on.
And sometimes I will admit I'm a little guilty of that, but overall, I believe even if Rick Barnes never makes a Final Four with Tennessee, he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer. And growing up, for me, Tennessee basketball was never really that relevant. And he's got them to a point where they're at least in the discussion, the conversation almost year in and year out. So let's go ahead and before we head to the break, we're going to open up the phones at 4 to start off the 4 o'clock hour, since we will not be on the radio from about 4:15 till the end of the show at 5. So want to have y'all's chance to be able to talk to us, talk to George, since he has not been on the show in a while. So if you didn't get the chance to call in yesterday, now's the time at 615-759-9949. We'll kick things off with Stat of the Day, then go to the phones. Again, the phone line, 615-759-9949. And also, too, Tennessee is about to head to the bottom of the third versus UNC Asheville, and they are tied up 2-2, just in case you wanted a score update. We'll talk to you on the other side of the break. This is the George Plaster Show.
Future leaders begin at DePauw University. In the School of Business and Leadership, students gain the skills and confidence to make their mark and change the world. Step up, stand out, and lead with purpose. Learn more at depaw.edu.
This week in Vanderbilt history, February 25th, 2010. The 16th-ranked Commodores rallied in the closing seconds to get to overtime against Georgia, then held on to win 96-94 at Memorial Gym. An A.J. Ogilvy tip-in with 15 seconds to play in regulation to even the game at 77 after Vandy had trailed by 5 with 33 seconds. Then Jermaine Beal scored 6 of his career-high 28 points in the OT, and the Bulldogs' attempt to send it to a second extra period fell short as the buzzer sounded. Ogilvy scored 17 points with 10 rebounds as Vandy avenged a 14-point loss a couple weeks earlier in Athens. Andre Walker also had 17 and John Jenkins 14 points. Vanderbilt improved to 21-6 overall, 10-3 in conference play. Coach Kevin Stalling said he was proud of the way they kept battling. That Vandy team would go on to win 25 games and make it to the NCAA tournament. On this night, it took 5 extra minutes to get it done. Commodores 96, Georgia 94 in February 2010. This week in Vanderbilt history, I'm Kevin Ingram.
Mid-State Sports League spring registration is now open. With 7 different sports to choose from, there is something for every player. Join Nashville's largest sports league and register as a free agent or build your own team. Spring registration is now open for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, kickball, flag football, basketball, and pickleball. They also have spring youth soccer for kids preschool through 8th grade. For a full list of adult and youth leagues, check out midstatesports.com. That's midstatesports.com.
Hey, it's Willie Donick for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. If your home needs an upgrade, start with Pella Windows and Doors. It's wintertime, and Energy Star says you can cut utility bills by about 12% with energy-efficient windows, and Pella delivers that. Their proper sealing and insulation help keep moisture out, preventing rot and costly damage. And installing Pella windows pays off. The 2025 Cost versus Value Report shows homeowners recouped up to 75% at resale. Upgrade smart. Choose Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
Safari Club International's convention is the biggest hunting event in the world, and it's coming back to Music City Center tomorrow through the 21st. Safari Club International's convention brings together elite outfitters, once-in-a-lifetime hunts, unmatched gear, and high-stakes auctions. This is where seasoned hunters plan their next move, and conservation meets action. If hunting is part of who you are, Safari Club International's convention is where you belong. Details and registration at safariclub.org, and use TN Hunters 10 for 10% off registration.
The Commodores live here.
Right side, James for 3. Yeah! There's a reverse layup goes. What a finish at the horn. The shot is no good. Vanderbilt wins.
Your home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network. Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Mostly cloudy going into the afternoon, a little breezy at times, and high temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 60s. Overnight tonight, we only fall into the upper 50s.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For the love of the climb. For the love of the fall. For the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee, travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
With no credit checks and payments as low as $20 a week, why wait to upgrade your home? At Electronic Express, get everything you need, from premium appliances and TVs to gaming systems and more. Whether it's building your dream home theater or updating your kitchen, we make it affordable and easy. With over 40 years in business, trust us for the best selection, service, and guaranteed low prices. Shop online or at any of our 22 locations across Tennessee and Alabama. Electronic Express, for every moment of your day.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
All right, George, here we go. Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. The SEC has a lot of scoring talent. Who leads the conference in points per game this season?
Now, wait a minute. Are you asking about a team or an individual?
I guess this is the way it's worded is referring to the individual.
Okay. So what person is the SEC scoring leader?
Yes. It may not be someone that immediately comes to your mind for a hint.
Hubbard at Mississippi State.
Oh my gosh. Bingo. 21 and almost 21 and a half points per game for Josh Hubbard. He is, as of right now, on February 17th, the SEC's leading scorer. I mean, he's pretty much the only scoring option at Mississippi State. I was able to watch him the other night versus Tennessee, and he's about all they had. They didn't have much outside of him, and they've been struggling a bit this year. Quick answer from George. You got it right. Didn't need any help. And with that, we welcome you into the 4 o'clock hour. Just a reminder, we are opening up the phones at 615-759-9949 before 94.9 transitions to Vanderbilt baseball as they have a matchup with Eastern Michigan at 4:30. We will head to the phones now. Frank and Smyrna on line 1. Frank, thanks for the call. What's on your mind?
Good afternoon, guys. How we doing?
Doing just fine, Frank. Better now that you've called.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. George, I know we've talked about this before, and Parker, you can chime in too. Parker, as I told you last week, you were to stay out of Memorial Gym Saturday.
I won't be there Saturday, Frank. I will not.
Thank you, sir. Much respect to you for that, Parker. And, yeah, that's our home game. You can go see him in Knoxville. You can go see Vandy play in Knoxville in a few weeks. But you're staying out of Memorial Gym.
That may be the option. That may be my option.
Yes, there you go. Here, George, I know you and I have talked about this. Saturday's game, so I understand, is sold out. But, when I was back in Nashville a few weeks ago to visit my daughter and take care of some business, I went to the Ole Miss game and the Texas A&M game. No, I'm sorry, not Texas A&M, Oklahoma. And those for the Oklahoma game, that gym had 4,000 empty seats. For the life of me, I don't understand what's going on. This is the best team Vandy's had in 10 years. We finally got a team worth watching, worth the time to go see, a coach that cares more about winning than playing golf. I could go on and on. Where are our fans? I hope what comes Saturday is not 70-30 orange. I guess I've just have, I don't know what the right word for it is. I've just seen way too much orange in our home athletic facilities over the last 10, 15 years, and I'm tired of it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. What do you think?
Well, first of all, they spent an awful lot of time in the fall trying to make sure that the football stadium was sold out. And I don't see anywhere near that kind of effort being put into men's basketball. I don't understand it. It's kind of a mystery to me why I don't, I would get a lot of emails during football season telling me where they were, and when they were officially sold out, they'd send all that kind of stuff. I don't get it. And I'm kind of like you. Memorial Gym during most of the SEC games has been probably 3,000, maybe 4,000 short of sellouts. Now it's way better than when Stackhouse was there, but my funeral will draw more than Stackhouse was drawing at the end.
So will mine.
Kind of a joke. So
yes, it was.
I don't know. I'm not convinced that they have put the same effort into getting butts and seats that they did in football. And I guess I don't really understand that. And if I'm Mark Byington, if what you said were to turn out Saturday, that it's a big Tennessee number, I'd march my little butt into Candace's office and say, what the hell? What do we got to do?
Agreed. And like I say, I don't know if it's all Tennessee fans that bought the tickets. There wasn't any doubt about it during the Stackhouse years. I knew that's what was going on. I never had any doubt in my mind. But this year, I mean, Tennessee, they're a good team. It's not like they're having their best year by any means. And let's be honest, growing up in the Middle Tennessee area, Tennessee basketball, no one really cared. I mean, it was 3/4 Vanderbilt fans all through the 80s and the 90s, even during the Stallings years. Most of that crowd for Tennessee games was Vanderbilt fans, and I get it, but it just really puzzles me, that as big a city as Nashville is now, that they cannot sell out a Saturday afternoon game in the middle of the afternoon. I mean, or whatever. It just drives me nuts. I don't get it, but at the end of the day, just keep winning, and that's all I ask. That's a game Vanderbilt should win Saturday, in my opinion. It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be.
I want to butt in right here, real quick. We have a comment in our YouTube chat that says the biggest problem for Vanderbilt is that Nashville is now a pro town by a long shot. The other 15 SEC teams are strictly college markets. Do you think that has anything to do with that? The fact that we spend a lot of time on the Titans and Preds, and maybe that distracts everybody from what's going on West End?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a different city than when Vanderbilt basketball was the toughest ticket in town. And to be honest, in a lot of cases, the only ticket in town worth talking about. It's a much different place. But, they proved in football that a winning product with a lot of marketing could look better than it used to. And that really hadn't happened in basketball. And I would claim that they haven't put anywhere near the effort into it that they did in football. And if I'm Byington, if I'm him, I'm pissed off by that.
That's an interesting point you bring up, Parker, and I do think you're right. Being a native Middle Tennessean that's been there pretty much my whole life, I think there is something to that. Plus, and I understand you've had a lot of people that moved in over the last 15 years or so that are from areas where, let's just be honest, college basketball is just not a big deal, So that I do think that's part of it. It's just strange to me because all I've ever heard is, well, if you win, they will come. I've had people tell me that. Well, when they start winning, I'll start going. Well, where are they?
Well, they are winning, and I think they're on track for a 4 seed last time I checked bracketology. Thank you for the call, Frank. We have one more on the phone lines, the loyal Tony in Nolensville. Tony, how's it going?
Hello, gentlemen, and it's good talking to y'all again. And I do want to touch on what Frank's call was, but before I do that, first I want to mention is, of course, I've been tooting the horn about this young man named Colin Parker at Austin P. I don't know if y'all saw it yesterday, but he was named the Lou Henson National Player of the Week. Did y'all see that?
I did
not. That's awesome.
And he was. And, it's amazing that this guy's playing at this level, that he was missed by all the other Division I teams. I almost put him in the same grouping as Connect was, that come out of northern Colorado to play at UT. If this boy was playing with anybody in the SEC, he'd be off the charts with all kind of media attention. It would be unbelievable. But he was named that the Lou Henson National Player of the Week yesterday. So for last week's performances.
What year is
he's a graduate transfer, come in from Georgia. I believe Colin came in from I want to say Missouri College or something like that. He come from Columbia College. He was just appeared out of nowhere. And wow. He was an unbelievable find by Corey Gibson. It's unbelievable. So I want to touch on that. Number 2, Parker, I don't know if y'all saw this, but North Dakota State is going to the Mountain West in Division I football this year.
We did mention that a little bit last week. All this conference realignment's getting crazy now, with Sac State going to the MAC, and then you have Northern Illinois, who's also going to the Mountain West.
And they are on Austin. Austin P will be going up to Fargo to play them this year in the regular season. So I wanted to throw that out there. Now, touching on what Frank has said, and George, you're a Vandy fan, Vandy alumni and stuff. My family had season tickets 30 years at Vanderbilt in basketball or longer. COVID hit, and then the season stopped. Then the Stackhouse years come, and me personally, I'm 67. I've got some leg issues. I am not going to Vanderbilt basketball games no more. I miss the environment. I miss that fun, the intensity. But after COVID hit, and then the Stackhouse years, and then I don't have those tickets anymore. I haven't missed going out there. I enjoy sitting at my house watching a game on TV. I missed the thrill and Memorial Magic. I was a participant of it for 30-something years. But as far as the fans going, I'm not going to park in a garage all the way down the 25th Avenue garage and walk back up that slanted hill to Memorial Gym. I used to be able to park in Kensington, which is next door to Memorial, and they took that pass away from me. So with those certain things, I'm just not, and it's in the winter months, I'm going to sit at home and watch them on TV. And what they're doing is great. I wear my Vanderbilt gear weekly, not every day, because I wear some Austin P gear. But just those certain reasons is why this Vanderbilt fan is not out there no longer. Now, I go to baseball games. Baseball season's fixing to start today, playing Eastern Michigan today and tomorrow. But, I'm just not going to make that long walk up there to that gym. They play those 8 o'clock games during the midweek. I got sick of 8 o'clock games. By the time you get back to your car and the game's over, you've got to sit in that garage, and it'd be 12 o'clock, 12:30 before you got home. It's just a lot of reasons why the elderly fans are not out there no more. Now, the young fans, I don't know where they're at, but like George and y'all touched on, there's so much other things going on that wasn't going on in 1992 when we had Billy McCaffrey, Elder, Anglin, Chris Lawson, Ronnie Gordon, when we won the SEC championship. A lot of things have changed in those 30 years. So I think that's what's happened with a lot of our
fan base that used to sit in 3L and 3F. So
Absolutely. And Tony, I hate to cut you off because we have a hard out here coming up in a few seconds.
I've said my piece, and I do appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Tony.
Tony.
So we have Vanderbilt baseball coming on in about a minute because they have a game versus Eastern Michigan. Doubleheader, actually, a game tomorrow as well. So we will sign off at least on 94.9, and we'll continue on the other side via live stream and our good friends in ESPN Clarksville. Talk to you on the other side of the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show as we have officially signed off on 94.9 The Fan, at least for today. We'll be back on tomorrow, but Vanderbilt had an earlier, or I guess a later afternoon game versus Eastern Michigan. First pitch is set for 4:30. They are in the pregame right now, so we will continue on Twitter, YouTube, and our friends at ESPN in Clarksville will be carrying us as well. By the way, some Olympic news. Latvia is squaring off right now in the Olympics versus Sweden. They trail 4-1. That is important because the winner of that game will move on to the quarterfinal round where they will take on the number 2 seeded U.S. team tomorrow at 2:10. I believe that game will be available on Peacock and the USA Network, NBC, all that good stuff. Germany beat France earlier 5-1. Switzerland beat Italy 3-0, and Czechia beat Denmark 3-2. So our quarterfinal matchups are pretty much set. Czechia will take on Canada at 9:40, Finland and Switzerland at 11:10, and Germany and Slovakia. That'll be the early game at 5:10 a.m. So hockey and coffee. And then the United States will have their matchup at 2:10. So, George, I wanted to get into a little bit of college basketball because we had, again, maybe one of the games of the year. The only other competing game that I can really think of might have been in December when we had Alabama at St. John's. That was a thriller as well. But yesterday, Iowa State and Houston. I mean, it was 70-67 maybe not as high scoring as the over-under had it, but still great basketball. The Big 12 is so much fun to watch this year. Is Iowa State, I wanted to ask, is Iowa State, in your opinion, a national championship contender?
No. No, I don't think so. Houston having a chance more than I would Iowa State. That's a game simply that the home team won. If that game had been in Houston, I think Houston wins. I'm not sure that Houston, I know they're ranked second in the country, but there are 4 or 5 teams out there that I like better than Houston. I thought a year ago they had a great shot to win it all, and it didn't happen. And that's a shame for Kelvin Sampson, because that's clearly one piece of a Hall of Fame resume that's missing. And, he would have loved to have had that. But I don't know. If just my gut feeling is no, Iowa State, I don't put them in the Michigan, Arizona, Houston, Florida. I'd rather have Florida. I don't see that scoring oomph out of Iowa State. It took everything they had last night to win.
Yeah, and that is a good point too, because Iowa State just seems, you compare the teams that they've had in the past, it just seems kind of similar. They're, probably, Sweet 16, maybe even Elite 8 in my estimation. But in terms of, if that game were at Houston, and even if that game was at a neutral site, I'm picking Houston. But they were going through the stats last night on the broadcast of, Iowa State's record at home versus AP ranked teams. TJ Otzelberger, all of his wins versus ranked teams. It just seemed like, Hilton Magic is a very real thing, and they were able to get Houston last night, but it took every ounce of energy, of intensity that they had. But for Iowa State, they don't have that main score. They have Milan Momcilovic, I believe I'm saying that right, who's a great three-point shooter. But it's not like he's going out and dropping 30 every night. Taman Lipsky's a pretty good point guard, but he's not elite. So that's kind of where my concern lies with Iowa State. But in terms of teams in the Big 12, what about, would you say Arizona and Houston are probably the national championship contenders in the Big 12?
Yeah. I'm not buying Kansas. Now, Kansas had a great win when they knocked off Arizona at Fog Allen. But I don't think this is one of Kansas's great teams. They're really good, but I don't know that I would go great.
What if Darren Peterson is healthy? Does that change anything?
Well, it sure helps because he's a terrific player. I don't know. When I watch them, I think they're more gettable than they have been in a couple of years. It's just, look, I don't have any proof of it. It's just me watching and sort of doing my own little eye test. Doesn't mean I'm right.
Right. No, I see what you're saying, and I'm kind of on the fence with Kansas, because I made this point to the Basketball Insiders last week. I'm not going to go out and say this is the best job that Bill Self has done coaching, because clearly he's had a lot of really impressive seasons, but he's also at the same time coaching 2 different teams, one without Darren Peterson and one with. And Darren Peterson's missed about half of the season due to cramping issues, due to sickness, whatever, lower body issues. But when he's not out on the court, 2 of their best wins have come without Darren Peterson. That's Arizona and that's Tennessee. I know they beat Arizona at home, but they beat Tennessee at a neutral site. So I feel like you take Darren Peterson out of the lineup, then you just put him back in. It's so hard to really gain any continuity.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, you talk about things like ceilings. How far can a team go? I would say I would put Kansas, their ceiling this year, at sort of Elite Eight. I just don't see them as a Final Four.
So I also asked the insiders, how many national championship contenders, and they said 7 or 8. So Michigan, Houston, Duke, Arizona, UConn, I think we'd all say are national championship contenders. Then you have Purdue, who I consider. George, do you consider Purdue still a national championship contender?
Ask me tomorrow.
Okay. Florida, I would consider at this point in time a national championship contender. Then you have your teams like Iowa State, who I'm with George, I don't think is a national championship contender this year. Kansas, I believe their ceiling is probably Elite Eight. They're a really good team, but not national championship caliber. Nebraska's in the top 10, but they haven't even won a game in the tournament. And I think once you get there, the pressure is going to be a little bit different because now they're expected to win games. I'm not sure if they have that to go all the way to or Final Four, national championship, any of that. They may get to the Sweet 16, and that would be a great story. What about Illinois and Gonzaga, George? What about them?
Illinois, I have is as a definite national title contender. I'm very impressed with them. Let me also say that in my list of 5 or 6, the Florida Gators are right there. Now, I don't care where AP puts them. They played a very tough preseason schedule. They ended up with some losses that, you don't normally figure a defending national champion will have. Here's what I know. The day they beat Vandy here, they're one of only 4 or 5 teams in the country that could have beaten Vandy that day. Vandy didn't lose that game. Florida won it. Florida hit some shots in the final 4 minutes of that game that were incredible. I'm telling you, if people are underselling Florida, better rethink it.
George, you bring up a great point about their schedule. They kicked off the season with Arizona, and they lost that game by 6 points. They had Miami sprinkled in there. Miami is firmly in the field of 68 at this point in time. TCU, a team that Florida shouldn't have lost to, but at the same time, they were figuring out their lineup. So they lost to TCU. They had Duke in there. They had UConn. So Tennessee, Vanderbilt, they've already played all of them. Alabama is the one that really opened my eyes because they went on a little 4-game run where they were beating their opponents by almost 30 points per game. When they beat Alabama, the rebounding is what really made my eyes pop. They rebounded Alabama that game. It was in the paint, points in the paint. It was like 72-26 or something like that. So if I'm nitpicking with the Florida Gators right now, it'd probably be the lack of depth that they have with their guards. But that front court may be a little bit better than last year, and that's why I'm so high on them.
Yeah, I think nationally, and let me say this, I'd probably have to go look. What is Florida ranked right now?
AP has them at 12.
Which is a crock.
Yeah.
There are not 12 teams in the country better than Florida.
Agreed.
There just aren't. And they've been kind of slow to react. Now, it's possible that this is exactly what Florida wants. Nobody's paying any attention to them. Nobody's really giving them their just due, and maybe they go into the tournament with that chip on their shoulder. But you know what? They were good enough a year ago to win it all. And when I watch them, and admittedly, I've only seen them one time in person, and it was here against Vandy. And Vandy played their butt off and got nothing to show for it. And it's because Florida was amazing. Florida hit some shots down the stretch that I was like, wow.
And that kind of ties into what I was saying about they didn't really have their lineup figured out, because when they got Xavier Lee, the transfer from Princeton, everybody thought that he was going to be one of those plug and play guys. Well, it took him a while to get going, but now he has really started to get it going. Boogie Fland, who had a legitimate opportunity to go to the NBA, decided to transfer, stick in the SEC, go to Florida. He's been sensational, but you have Thomas Houck, you have Alex Condon, Ruben Chinulu, who I think is the best defensive player in the country. And then you have guys like Micah Handlockton coming off the bench. George, they're kind of like Michigan in my mind, and we'll talk about Michigan-Purdue here in a second. But Florida is kind of like Michigan in my mind, where their size and the strength, they're the best rebounding team by far in the SEC. That's going to give teams a lot of issues, and I would not be surprised to see Florida back in the Final Four.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to make a living playing Florida.
Not
Just
at
bottom
all.
line. So under the category of, and I know I'm going to miss some of them, so bear with me here, because I'm going to try and put the list together, which is what I think you're wanting me to do.
That's kind of what I'm doing too. So we're figuring it out together.
Okay, just hold on, because I'm going to the AP poll here of who do I think can win the national title. Okay, Michigan, definitely. Houston, I don't think they're gonna, but they could. Arizona, Duke, UConn, absolutely. Iowa State, no. Purdue, no. Kansas, I'm just not sold that they're at that level. Nebraska, Illinois, yes. Illinois is another team that I would not want to play for a living. There's certain nights where they are really scary. Gonzaga, they ain't ever winning it. And you know, Parker, the one year that they came close when Baylor smoked them in the final.
Yeah,
I had come out very early and everybody said I was a Gonzaga hater. They don't play anybody. Once they get to January, their schedule, that conference, the conference is better than it has been. But, you know, going to play the San Diego Toreros is not my idea of a tough road game.
They
play a lot of non-conference tough, but once they get to January, they don't have enough.
And they're moving to the Pac-12 next year, but I'm not sure exactly how much that'll help the strength of schedule, because the newly renovated Pac-12 isn't exactly full of blue bloods. I watched their game versus Santa Clara at least a little bit of on Saturday night, and I was shocked to learn that Santa Clara was actually in Lenardi's projected field of 68. Now I doubt it, because that was their one chance to get that really impressive quad one victory, so they didn't get it. So now I believe it's just down to Gonzaga and St. Mary's. George, I've been thinking about this as well, because I think we're mostly in agreement outside of Purdue of what teams we think are capable of winning a national championship, or at least making it to the game. If there was a team that is kind of outside that list that you think can make a deep run that maybe we're not talking about as much, who do you think that team is?
Texas Tech.
Yeah.
When I look at the AP poll right now, Florida at number 12 can win it all. If they go on one of their runs where they start just smoking people, they could. Texas Tech to me is scary. The rest of the 11 through 20, if I was going to pick one more out of there, it'd be Arkansas, even though I don't trust them. Arkansas is so athletic. It's amazing how athletic they are. I'm not saying they're all that smart, but they're pretty darn athletic.
When I watched Texas Tech, you know, JT Toppin I believe he had 31, and then I know for a fact he had double-digit rebounds versus Arizona on Saturday. but their point guard, Christian Anderson, is one of the best point guards in the country too. So you have that 1-2 punch coming at you, and when they're not in foul trouble, they'll give anybody fits. So I like that pick. My pick was Wisconsin because they are flying. They're flying under the radar right now, but they have 3 of the best wins in the Big Ten, and I don't think we're talking about them enough. They have wins over Michigan, Michigan's only loss. They have wins over Illinois and Michigan State in back-to-back games, and then they're at Ohio State tonight, so another chance for a quad one opportunity. But I love Greg Gard. I love Wisconsin's offense. This team operates a little bit differently than previous Wisconsin teams, but if they're shooting really well, I absolutely believe they can make maybe even a run to the Elite Eight.
They're a weird one to try to figure because early in the year they weren't all that good. I'm looking up right now. I'm looking at Lenardi's stuff, and this is really interesting. Miami of Ohio is still unbeaten, 25-0. Lenardi has them as an 11 seed, and he's saying basically they're one of the last 4 to 6 teams that gets in. Wow.
I can't really.
That's pretty interesting.
I know. I can't really wrap my mind around that. I know that their strength of schedule is not that good whatsoever. I know their offense is great. Is that more so? Does Lenardi kind of explain it, or?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard him really talk about it. Other than Miami has won a ton of close games.
Right.
It's not like they have pulverized the MAC. They've had some real battles. And I guess what he's basically saying is that they're a perfect storm to be 25-0, but they're not that good.
And I do think that's the case. Griff was talking about on Friday how their net was in the 50s, I think. So clearly the statistics surrounding them are not going to be that good. However, George, the St. Louis, they're ranked at, 18, I believe? 18, 17? No, they're 18. 24-1. I think St. Louis is a team that can maybe be a second weekend type of team. I haven't gotten the chance to watch St. Louis that much, but I love their coach. Came over from Indiana State. I love St. Louis. Have you had the chance to watch them at all? The Bulls?
Yeah, and here's what I'll tell you. First of all, he won't be there next year. He is probably the hottest name. Josh Sturtz is the hottest name going right now. And the truth of it is, he wanted the Vanderbilt job 2 years ago and didn't feel like in his interview that he really got Vandy's attention. Now, that said, Vandy made a terrific hire. So I'm not, this is not meant as a knock. Because I think in the end, the Vandy coaching search 2 years ago came down to Abdur Rahim at South Florida, who I believe they offered the job to, and he turned it down. Byington, who accepted, and Sturtz, who really wanted it and didn't feel like he made any headway in his interview.
Yeah, and you can't really fault Vandy for not. Now, Josh Schertz is a great coach, but what Byington's been able to do.
They came out of it.
Right.
Fine. This is in no means a criticism of their search, because their search produced a really good basketball coach and a guy who has proven what a dud Jerry Stackhouse was and how little effort he was giving.
Hey, but he had a heck of a golf game, though. So,
actually, I'm told he really wasn't all that good.
Oh, so he wasn't. Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse because he spent a lot of his time doing that.
Kind of is.
So, St. Louis, their next 6 games at Rhode Island, VCU, at Dayton. Then they have Duquesne, Loyola Chicago, and they're at George Mason. VCU and George Mason are probably going to be their toughest tests remaining. Those are the next two in the A10's standings, and VCU's trying to steal a bid into the NCAA tournament. But let's go ahead and talk about Purdue and Michigan tonight at Mackey. Michigan, a 2.5-point favorite. Their first time being ranked number 1 since 2013, and they've earned it. They are, in my estimation, the best team hands down right now in college basketball. They're able to bring in a transfer, Yaxel Lindenberg from UAB, who has been phenomenal for them. They're like Florida in my mind, right? Where they have so much size. Morez Johnson, Andy Ademara, guys like that. Roddy Gale, so much size that it just oftentimes overwhelms you. So for Purdue to win this game tonight, George, obviously the home court advantage is going to play a massive role in this. Is it just going to have to be one of those where you have Braden Smith, one of those master classes, or are they going to have to rely on guys like Traycoff and Wren and their back or their front court?
Their only chance to win is the fact that it's in West Lafayette. They don't win that game in Ann Arbor, but they could win it in West Lafayette. Purdue at home really gets after people. Their crowd is a huge advantage, and they're going to have to force Michigan out of their comfort zone, because when Michigan gets on a roll, I watched it a couple of weeks ago during the ice storm. I actually went over to Sports and Social and watched them in the second half dismantle Michigan State. And they are capable of, 20 minutes of basketball where they outscore people, even on the road, by 20. There are not many teams in the country that can do that. Michigan can. Purdue has got to me, they've got to keep that score really close. And maybe they got to use a timeout, a possession earlier than normal, because Michigan's one of these teams that wants to go 12-0 on you in a 2-minute stretch. You can't let them.
They want to win by TKO, make it a no contest. I think that it's important to note that Purdue does not lose often in Mackey, but they've lost twice this year at home. And the first loss was very concerning because it was, at the time, Iowa State, who was they're still a top 10 team. They were ranked 10th at the time when they played, beat Purdue in Mackey 81-55, and it was a complete splattering. And then they lose to Illinois at home when Keaton Wagler, their standout freshman, went off for 46. So they've already lost twice at home. So it wouldn't be this complete anomaly if Michigan was able to do it either. And clearly Michigan is the favorite in this one. But George, what Dusty May has been able to do in his second year at Michigan, because he made the Final Four with Florida Atlantic, great story. Michigan had fallen on hard times. We've talked about the Michigan athletic department a lot on this program within the last few months. But what Dusty May has been able to do and the way that he's been able to utilize the portal has been incredible. So it's good to see Michigan doing Michigan-like things on the basketball court.
And what it tells you, he stayed an extra year after he got FAU to the Final Four, remember?
I do remember that.
Yeah. And it may well be that he decided that the jobs that were open that year weren't good enough, but he jumped all over Michigan because I think, he probably came with sort of if I'm going anywhere, I'm going where I can win a national title.
I always respect the coaches that take their time, like Ben Johnson. He was the hot name for a while, offensive coordinator of the Lions, and then he had an opportunity to take a head coaching job, but he decided to return to Detroit for another year in hopes of getting to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they never got there, but then the Chicago job opened, and he jumped on it right away. So I I respect that. I respect that a lot about Dusty May. He's done a phenomenal job, probably the front runner for Coach of the Year. But looking at some of these other matchups that I talked about, Nebraska at Iowa, George already talked about how, there's a reason that I was probably a favorite in this one because Nebraska has really struggled, losing 3 out of their last 5. Lots of heavyweight matchups in the Big Ten. Wisconsin and Ohio State is another one of those. George, that is interesting because I heard Jake Diebler, who's their head coach, come on 102.5 last week because they played in Nashville versus Virginia. Ohio State is one of those jobs. Like, we know Ohio State is a football school, but still they've had a little bit of history in basketball as well. Is it kind of disappointing that they're not at least cracking the top 25?
Ohio State?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. When I watch them, I just sort of, First of all, Jake Diebler is a former Vandy assistant. He was on Bryce Drew's staff.
Yep.
And that's what the Nashville connection is. I didn't really know Jake when he was here. He got the job in an interim deal where he won enough to force the issue. But you may have it in front of you. What's their record?
16-9. I believe Lenardi has them as first 4 out.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about right to me.
So, yeah, that is and they did keep it relatively close with Virginia and when they played in Nashville on Valentine's Day. So, the Big Ten, I projected to get 10 teams in the NCAA tournament. Somehow the SEC is projected to get 11. He has Auburn as an 8 seed, which is very surprising to me. We'll hit this final commercial break. We'll come back on the other side with more news and notes regarding college basketball. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our football night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Final segment here on the George Plaster Show. In the Olympics, we do have an update. As Sweden and Latvia just went final, Sweden is a 5-1 victor over Latvia. So now Sweden will take on the United States tomorrow at 2:10. So the quarterfinals are set. And if I'm getting this correctly, which I believe I am, they will reseed after the quarterfinal round. So if Canada and the U.S. were to meet, it would most likely come in the gold medal round. Again, that is just speculation up to this point. And Tennessee is up 6-2 in the top of the sixth against UNC Asheville. And Vanderbilt and Eastern Michigan are just underway. No score in the bottom of the first. George, it's been rough. And I know we will get to this a little bit later in terms of my bets of the day, because I picked against Iowa State last night, and I've learned my lesson. I will not do it anymore. I will never doubt Iowa State again at home unless I'm given good reason to. But as long as they're a ranked team playing inside of Hilton Coliseum, I'm not doubting Iowa State anymore.
Yeah, in that building, I mean, they've had a history of being really good. Think about the weekend they just went through. They blew out Kansas, beat them by about 20. They never really were in any trouble in that game. And now they close on, what was it, like a 13-3 run in the closing 4 minutes to beat Houston by 3. The line was 2.5. So, that's a tough one. The half pointers are hard to swallow. Speaking of whether you can swallow or not, this is the first time I've tried this in a while, but I want to talk about the folks at the Dr. Gill Center, because if you're having pain, whether it's back, neck, pain relief, knee pain, whatever it may be, as you get a little older, these are folks you want to check in with. There's a reason that they've advertised with us, because given that my age skews a little older, they decided to try this. And they have gotten quite a few of you who have reached out and said, I want to try to find out what's going on. Why am I having? And a lot of people just start to accept it and say, well, this is just the way it's going to be. It doesn't have to be. If you'll go, and I'm going to give you the phone number in a minute, ask to have an initial consultation, because they'll listen closely to what has been going on, what's been causing you pain. And then they'll try to put a plan together. The initial consultation is $49, which seems like a small price to pay to get rid of real pain. So their phone number is 615-882-4838. Again, 615-882-4838. These are good folks at the Dr. Gill Center.
I haven't heard from the Dr. Gill Center. Is that a cue to play the commercial, or you just want to keep going, George?
Why not? Play it.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Always good to hear from the fine folks at the Dr. Gill Center. I was curious while that commercial was playing. I was just looking at Iowa State's upcoming schedule, And they're at BYU on Saturday night. Really not a lot of breaks in the Big 12 this year. I compared it to the SEC, not in terms of top to bottom competitiveness like it was last year and even a little bit this year to an extent, but it is ranked on ranked matchups. It seems like night in and night out. So they got BYU on Saturday night in Provo. They host Texas Tech the following Saturday. So another opportunity for a wild, raucous home court environment for Iowa State. And then they're at Arizona the following game. So really some good basketball coming down in the Big 12. George, we were talking
Big
about
12 feels like Big 12 feels like the SEC did a year ago.
That's what I'm saying. I've made that comparison. Again, it may not be in terms of balance, top to bottom like the SEC, but it's just a physical slugfest almost every time. I mean, that's how it was last night.
Yeah. It's, it makes you battle tested. That's one theory. But on the other, sometimes you wonder, is it too much?
That was the thing that I heard brought up with Tennessee, because Rick Barnes' style of play is, we're going to get all the rebounds. We're going to fight you pretty much, physicality. But at some point, is that going to cost you once you get around to the NCAA tournament, because you get to the point where your legs feel like Jell-O and you're just so beat up from the season? Will that be the case with the Big 12? We'll have to figure it out. So I'm going to show it. I'm going to show my record. Still above 500, which is a good thing. 16-15. I picked Houston to cover last night. Did not.
This ain't easy, is it?
Ain't easy. And I've really been struggling because college basketball has been very unpredictable at points. So I'm going to the Big 10 tonight. Wisconsin and Ohio State. Wisconsin is a 1.5 point favorite. But like you, George, when I watch Ohio State play, I'm not really all that impressed. I've been very impressed by Wisconsin. And maybe this hot streak that they're on is a little indicator of what may be coming. So I'm picking Wisconsin to win and cover tonight in Columbus. Do you like the pick, George?
Not really.
Really? What would your pick be?
Hold on here a minute. Just give me a second, because you caught me. You caught me a little flat-footed.
Some will say that was my intention. I will neither confirm nor deny. But Wisconsin,
Iowa.
On the road tonight in Columbus, 1.5 point favorite. What
Iowa.
does George think? Oh, Iowa. You're taking Iowa in the points.
There really aren't any points. It's a pick 'em.
Yeah. Oh, did that line move at all? I thought it moved a little bit.
Here might be another one. Late. San Diego State. Starting to cook.
They are, and they're trying to get in the NCAA tournament. They are on the outside as well. Will Brian Dutcher be able to get back to the national championship game like he was a few years ago? Probably not. They're 18-6.
Not with this team.
And first in the Mountain West. That was a crazy year.
Yeah.
Crazy year.
And look, I don't mean that they're not fairly good, but they're not like Final Four good.
No. That was an insane year. I think it was 4 versus 5 in the national championship with UConn when they won their first out of the 2 that they won in a row. But that'll just about wrap up the show today. Really good, good interviews with Tony Basilio, good phone calls as always. We'll be back at it again tomorrow on the George Plaster Show.